Okay, so in this video, I'm doing an extra problem, and it's this problem about exponential growth. So someone asked me for help with one of the homework problems, and this is very similar to that homework problem. So here it is. A population of bacteria initially has 250 present, and in 5 days, there's 1,600 present. Determine the exponential growth rate for this population, and how long will it take to grow from 250 to a population of 2,000. So the problem in the homework is very similar, except instead of saying how long does it take to grow in part 2, it says what will be the population after 10 days or something like that. And it's a population of a city instead of bacteria, but otherwise it's a very similar problem. So I'm going to do this problem. And if you want, you can also read the solution here. So I'll put this link. Oh boy. I'll put this link in the description or something, and there's a full written solution here. So you can also read it that way if you want some help. This is Paul's Online Notes is a great place for these kinds of problems. So here's my attempt at the solution. I'm going to open up a little note, and we're going to add it up. So what are we given, and what do we want? Given, and what do we want? So I remember what we want is we want the growth rate, exponential growth rate. Exponential growth rate K, that's what we want. And what are we given? We're given some information. Initially, there's 250 present. So we're given f of 0 is 250. Or if you want, in other words, a0 is 250. And we're also given, in 5 days, there's 1,600. That's the other piece of information we're given. F of 5 equals 1,600. Did I get that right? 1,600. Yeah, okay, great. Okay. So just like quadratic equations or linear equations, you're given a few pieces of information, and you got to take the information that you're given and translate it into what you want. In this case, we want to solve for K. And where is K appearing? Anytime you have an equation, f of 5 equals 1,600, f of 5 is going to involve K, because remember, the general formula is f of t is a0 e to the kt. So this equation actually says a0 times e to the 5 times k times 5 equals 1,600, right? So when t equals 5, you get 1,600. And we also know what a0 is. A0 is 250. 250 e to the 5k equals 1,600. So there you go. We have this equation. We just got to solve it for k. So it's going to turn into a nice exponential equation. Move the 250 to the other side. K times 5 is 1,600 divided by 250. And now you have a few choices how you want to use your logarithms. You can either take the log of both sides or write 1,600 divided by 250 as a log. But either way, the answer is going to be k times 5 is the ln of 1,600 divided by 250. Okay, and if that's k times 5, then k is 1/5 times this. Okay, so you can put that in your calculator if you want and see what it is. Let's check with the solution and make sure they got the same thing. So show the solution. Let's see, how do they do it? So they said q of t is 250 e to the kt. They used a0 as 250. 1,600 is q of 5. That's what I was calling f. Then they did the same algebra I did. They did some simplifying, and they got 1/5 ln of 32 divided by 5. That's exactly 1,600 over 250, and it's 0.371. Okay, great. So we did it. Let's do part 2. How long will it take to grow from its initial population to a population of 2,000? So in part 2, we want. So what are we given? We're given, well, we have the whole formula now, right? We know a0 is what? A0 was 250, and we solved for k. K was 1/5 ln of 1,600 over 250. They told me it was 32 divided by 5. Does that make sense? 25. Yeah, okay. And we want to solve for t. So that f of t equals 2,000. Okay. right? We want to solve. We want to know what time is it at 2000. So again, in this part of the problem is very similar to what is in the homework problem. In the homework problem, you're not solving for t. It's saying just plug in t equals 7 or something. So it's even easier. But let's do this one. 250 and 1/5 ln of 32 over 5. Solve for t. So I'm going to take f of t equals 2000. F of t is also a0 e to the kt equals 2000. I'm going to plug in what I know. And what do I know? I know that a0 is 250. And I know e to the kt is 1/5 ln of 32 over 5 times t. And now I got to solve for t. So I'm just going to manipulate this equation. Let's start by dividing by 250. E to the 1/5 ln of 32 over 5 t is 2000 divided by 250. 2000 divided by 250 is 200 divided by 25, also known as 8. Okay, that's good. So e to the something equals 8. You can undo the e with a ln, or you can write 8 as e to the ln of 8. Either way, you get the equation 1/5 ln of 32 over 5 times t is equal to the ln of 8. And now you just rearrange. T is the ln of 8 times 5 divided by the ln of 32 over 5. Okay, and you could simplify this in some ways, but I think it's safer to just leave it like that. So for example, the ln of 32 over 5 is the ln of 32 minus the ln of 5, but I would just leave it like this. This is what I would get. Let's put it in our calculator and see what it is. Actually, I'm not going to put it in my calculator. I'm going to peek at the solution and see if they got the same thing. Okay, so here was their equation. And here they're solving 2000 equals 250 1/5 ln of 32 over 5t, just like me. Then they got an 8, right? And then they did the ln of 8 is this. And then t is 5 ln 8 divided by ln of 32 over 5. And they did it. It's 5.601. So it's going to take 5.6 days to reach a level of 2000. Okay, so hopefully that helps you. If it doesn't help you, you want to see more, I really encourage you to come to this website. They have a whole bunch of problems like this. So if you hit next problem and it's working, then there's another one, and then they have the solutions. So it's good practice. Okay, I will stop there.